Okay. Hello, everyone out there who sees this video the month after I create it, because I release it on YouTube the month after it is relevant for. And that only goes for the monthly read, and I only release my video. Hi, hi, hi. I am also trying a new thing that transcribes for me. It's AI, full disclosure. So ideally I'll have a more accessible uh reading every month. It'll be written, it will be videotaped, it will have audio, all the options. Now, whether you're new to this or true to this, yeah, I know, right? So, whether you're new to this or true to this, we do the monthly read, then we do individual polls. I had a few requests for some individual polls, and so that I shall do. And then we'll do the monthly read first, the key card, and then the individual polls will happen. So I'm just checking right now to see what decks wish to be included. I am completely on analog. I have lost two sets of wireless headphones. So I am officially on my last set of headphones, which is, the tried and true wire headphones. What am I going to do about it? So hopefully the sound is okay and it's not knocking against anything, but if it is, please let me know. Okay, good. Thank you for letting me know. Okay. So let's see who's who at the zoo. All right, we got Visions from the Liminal Space, and then we got Manzel's Tarot, and there are no other decks that wish to be a part of the monthly read. So we have our Oracle deck, Visions in the Liminal Space, for the Concern card, the Opportunity Obstacle card, and the Advantage Aversion card. And then we will call upon Manzel's Tarot for the key card. And then we will move on to privates. So let's see. Obviously, we're not new to Visions in Liminal Space, stepping up to the monthly read. Oh, let me not do that under my headphones. That's not terrible. And this one too. Maybe that one. Let's see if I have to even say much more. I don't. Okay, those three are the three. Okay, last but not least, never least, Manzel's Tarot with the key card. Assume I can pull that now. Maybe it'll change after we talk through the other three cards. Sometimes, I mean, not sometimes, all the time, your fate can change. Things can change. Okay, let me see here. Okay, yes, okay. So I'm glad I explicitly told you that AI would be transcribing. I'll also have to take my phone off vibrate because I know that would be really annoying to hear back. Okay. So let us begin. All right. Our concern card, what is objectively going on? We have, oh geez, blood sacrifice. Okay, let's talk about this in a non-creepy, non-serial killer, non-oppressive, abusive kind of way, which is all that I am about. So when I see this card, what I think about is having the idiom, having your skin in the game, meaning that you are doing something that is actually about you, that includes you as a consideration, and in that sense is about you. It doesn't have to be all about you, okay? But that it includes you, so it's about you in that sense. And also something that's like relevant to what you are here to do. Because of course there's literal blood, okay? There's like our literal physical existence and ancestry and the people whose epigenetics we have inherited and those who will inherit our epigenetics, whether that means because we are in the earth or in the air or in the fire and the water, because we return to the earth because earth loans us the body. And then when we move out of the body and back into spirit, we return the body to earth, right? Everything that has happened on earth has stayed on earth. This is alone. But it's also this sort of energy where it's like, yes, there's the physical lineage, but there's also sort of I call it the primordial cording, like the energetic connection that we have to everything that exists on every level, but particularly energetically, spiritually. And so when I see this, I also think about spiritual agreements, spiritual appointments, aka spiritual contracts, what we have agreed to do in our lives that is relevant for us. Now, we all know that I am a strong believer in the mind your business school of things, which means that you belong to yourself. That's the only person who you are owed anything from, yourself. And that's the person that you're responsible for, and that is the person who you are responsible to. So, minding your own business, meaning having your skin in the game, is like doing something that is actually relevant for you within your control. What's within your control is not only the way that you think, the way that you choose to act, the way that you choose to show up, the way that you choose to react, the way that you choose to respond, but also the things that when you do them, you get to facilitate your own independent relationship with. So, like, for example, I can use my relationship with cards, right? I've been working with cards for 11 years, and I have a relationship with them that is independent of my relationship with any other person, that is independent of my relationship with anything else but the cards and me, right? It's a one-to-one relationship here. And there are many things like that for all of us that we can invest in our lives that will contribute to not only our betterment as a person, as an individual, as a human being, but also to the betterment of others, community, family, friends, etc., or colleagues, etc., or the world, right? So, excuse me, why I hydrate. So with this card, you know, there is the sacrifices and the blood, sweat, and tears that we sweat and we strain on behalf of others, that we tell ourselves or that we have to do or that we believe that we have to do because of the way that our belief system is set up, that suggests that is the most logical way to go about supporting ourselves or to be safe or to exist. Okay. Um, and then there's the sacrifices that we make for ourselves and what we feel is relevant to us and what we believe is true of what we are bringing to the situation, right? And not all of us have really quite worked that part out. A lot of us have maybe wondered a lot about that voice and not worked on that voice. A lot of us maybe have wondered at that voice and known what that voice is and still not worked on that voice. Some of us might just be wondering what that well, not even wondering, but like knowing that that voice exists. So, how are we treating this aspect of the concern? The fact that we have to, wherever we go, there we are, that we have to invest in the kind of existence that we want to have in order to experience that existence. And then we also have to trust existence and know that what we are seeking is seeking us. And if something is not seeking us back, or when we are seeking it, that we are not in alignment with that thing, and that we have to trust that that lack of alignment is there for a reason, that is for the betterment of ourselves, assuming we trust existence and assuming we use everything like a stepping stone as opposed to a roadblock, which brings us to the opportunity obstacle card, right? Are we treating the concern, aka blood sacrifice, like an opportunity or like an obstacle? And we have trust the process. You know, this card has been coming up recently. First of all, you see someone who's like a sovereign. They're constructing their own like place of regality. And as they're looking at the instructions and how to assemble this place of regality, they see, ooh, they're reading the instructions, which say the process. I'm trying to be able to show this to you in a way where it's actually legible. So anyways, trust me, it says the process. Okay. And the process are the instructions. So, you know, osmosis, you know, I talk about this a lot, viewer. Osmosis, learning through doing, having the field experience, knowing that a four-dimensional reality is three dimensions of space, one dimension of time, all four being necessary, but space-time being the thick reality, the more substantial reality, and time-space being the skinny reality, the less substantial reality. I call time-space, that one-fourth, our theoretical, hypothetical, construction of existence. And then I call space-time our lived experience, our field experience, our evidential experience of life. And that takes up the bigger aspect of the physical reality, right? Because we live in a, excuse me, majority space reality. And to me, how that breaks down is like three dimensions of space, one dimension in time means like whatever theory, whatever hypothesis that I have and that little time space reality that I entertain, I need to act on that thing at least three times in the field to sort of verify direction, which makes sense too, because I like to think that existence operates, at least our reality, our dimension, our of reality exists uh, in threes, right? Like we have positive, neutral, negative, we have masculine, androgynous, and feminine. We have protons, neutrons, and electrons. Even in the religious form, the Father, the Son, and the Spirit. Okay, so like there's a triadic aspect to this that I appreciate, and I think that trusting the process as the opportunity and as the obstacle is also recognizing that you can learn as much from your lived experience, from your physical experience, from the field, from life, from living, as you can from your intellectual intelligence, as you can from your emotional intelligence, as you can from your spiritual intelligence, right? Like we downplay physical intelligence. We speak to it as if it is baser or or without depth or like not sentient, like we talk we and treat the body as if it isn't sentient, as if it doesn't have its own intelligence, but we know that sensory intelligence is a type of intelligence, and you can have, sensory correspondence whether or not your brain is working, right? Like actually I was talking to someone recently, a homie who almost died, um whose heart almost stopped. And, they had been overthinking the thing, right? They were like, I'm fine. Like, I'll get over this illness, whatever. Meanwhile, their heart was like maintaining the entire operation of their body while they were depending on their brain. And it was because someone else told them they had to go to the hospital that they ended up realizing that their heart almost stopped. Now, you can live if your brain did with technology. You cannot live if your heart did. Okay. You cannot do that. You need that to be pumping. So there is a aspect of physical intelligence that sort of just cannot be snuck around, cannot be over intellectualized, cannot be had any other way but through the experience. And that includes, um, I say learning through osmosis. Obviously, if you're from a certain generation, you grew up with the movie Osmosis Jones, which I happen to think is kind of a grotesque movie, but it is a display of physicality. Okay, whatever. But oh, thank you. We treat physical intelligence like it is grotesque. Okay. So the trust the process seems like, you know, maybe that seems like a savage thing to ask. Maybe it seems like like unsupportive to tell people that their lived experience will be enough to teach them what they need to learn when they need to learn it, to do what they need to do, to know how they want to feel about those things, to know how to think about those things, to know how to feel spiritually guided by those things. But we are here having a physical experience, a three-fourths physical experience. And this trust the process is like, you can't use your lived experience as the reason why you can't live your experience the way that you prefer. You know what I mean? Like you can't use your physicality and as an excuse. You can't say this is a baser instinct that I have and therefore I cannot be my ideal version of myself, right? Because no matter what you're thinking about physicality, the only reason you are thinking it is because you have physicality, right? The only reason that you get to think it is because you have a brain to think it within a body that has all these things happening, that allows for the brain to happen, that allows for the thoughts to happen, that allows for your ideas to happen. Now, obviously, if you've had readings from me at all before, you know I have a strong spiritual belief in a strong spiritual world, but I don't think that the physical body is unspiritual, right? It's not devoid of spirit. It is not grotesque. It is not a baser. So the idea that having an experience from this place is is in itself an inconvenience or a punishment or some sort of like um I'm trying to figure out how you say it without ableist terminology, but our our language is so ableist. Like the only way people can say what I'm trying to say is handicap or or cripple. And that's not, I want to say like make it so you can't do what you would otherwise do. Okay. Obviously, that has nothing to do with your able-bodiedness. Has everything to do with one, a combination of what you believe possible and therefore how you behave based on what you believe, and also the circumstances that you're in at any given time and how those things are interplaying. But that's also the process, right? Of course, the process isn't just your lived experience. It's also the lived experience of everything living around you in relation to everything living around you, including yourself. So it's a dance, okay, motherfuckers? Like the fact that there's a lot of life, a lot of physicality, a lot of things to consider is not inherently like problematic or the problem. It's okay that things are complex. It is okay that things are diverse and varied and changing all the time. This is just the state of things, and we are catching up to the fact that the reality is happening regardless of how we feel about it, regardless of how much we seek to control the outcomes, and regardless of how much we decide, you know, something that is not our business, which is like the nature of things themselves, is our business. So appropriate way to jump to card number 3, which is what about our character is helping or hurting the circumstances that we are in, which include the concern, minding our business, having our skin in the game, and the opportunity obstacle, which is like trusting that minding our business and having our skin in the game will get us where we need to go, help us assemble the castle. Okay. So our character card is, oh shit. Let your edges be liquid. Okay, cool. So, which is funny because I saw this card but did not realize I pulled this card. So first and foremost, we're dealing with the water element, okay? So obviously I had to take the opportunity to hydrate, but also water is representative. Of course, if this was tarot, I'd be talking about cups. I'd be talking about emotional intelligence. I'd be talking about creativity, but also let your edges be liquid. I talk about this like time space, that 1/4 of the four-dimensional reality that we understand and perceive all of existence, all of reality as we know it to exist within. That time space isn't a dictator. Like time space isn't a dictator of space time. Time doesn't dictate space. It's a container, right? Time holds space. But just like water, or like conversely, so like water will take the shape of whatever it is in. Time will take the shape of whatever is in it. So the way that you decide time is relevant is the shape that it takes, right? Like there's some people who are like, I need to spend all my time, you know, indulging in my my highest excitement. There are some people who are like, I have to spend all my time worrying about the past. There are some people who think I have to spend all my time planning for the future. There are some people thinking I have to spend all my time righting wrongs. There are people who think I have to spend all my time worrying about how other people feel about me. And that becomes how your time is shaped. Okay. So, like, let your edges be liquid is like recognize how you dictate your reality through how you believe and then also how you understand. I was saying this recently to a few friends, but like I realized that, okay, everything is spiritual in that I think of spirit in the same way that I think of energy. I think of those as the same thing, the fundamental underlying infinite quality of existence, okay? But like so it's in everything, but there are spectrums and infinite spectrums of everything, and that includes spirit. And so, to have a spiritual connection, you might think, oh, well, we have to hold the same beliefs, or we have to practice the same things, or we have to um, you know, fight for the same causes, because practice the same things can mean personally, but, we have to work in the same industry. There are all these different kinds of ways that you can have spiritual connections with people. And it's optional, of course, because what you do with your life is up to you. And that means that any potential outcome or interaction with other people is also up to you as far as you're concerned in the relationship to it. But on an existential level, being in spiritual agreement is like, how you actually spend the time and space that makes up your life. Like beyond your spiritual agreements with other people, there's your existential spiritual agreement called this is what I value, this is what I do, this is what I believe in, and this is what I think reality is, right? Because those four things, what you value, what you do, what you believe, what you perceive, aka think reality is, that's all going to dictate how you choose to exist, how you choose to live your life, how you choose choices. So whatever you might tell other people, whatever you might tell yourself existentially, you are always telling existence what you believe in on a spiritual level with the way that you actually live your life. The way that you conduct yourself is your four-dimensional testament, review, and journal, existentially speaking, right? And existence is witnessing it all. You can't do shit without existence. Everything that it is you. Everything that you do is it. You can't do anything without it. So you're always going to be witnessed by existence. But the funny thing is, like, the way that you use existence is also how you show existence what you think, believe, know about it. And that's also let your edges be liquid, right? Because and I'll finish on this and then we'll go to the key card. But like everything that you choose to do changes the potential outcome of everything else that you may choose to do. So I'll give you a very tactile example. I was late to an appointment yesterday, and even though I 90% of the time when I go to this appointment will walk pretty similar ways, like one of two ways, I was late, so I walked this third way. And I hadn't walked that way in years because it just wasn't the way that I was accustomed to walking. So, like, everything that I saw on that walk, everything that was happening was different because I chose a different path. And having chosen a different path, I wasn't on this path I would typically be on, interacting or seeing the people I might typically see upon that path. And therefore, I was literally like in a different reality and different timeline than I had chosen, let's say 95% of the time. And as a result of that, I had a different kind of day because everything sort of followed in that vein of being different because I was different, because I had made a different choice. And so that's true of every single choice that we make. Okay. Like at any time you can choose your mind and like change the potential path that you will take. And that is the beauty of, being a part of something that is as a quality infinite, right? Because existence has one quality, and that quality is to exist. So it just by happenstance that shit is infinite. It's just a quality of what it is. So considering that you can be any version of yourself that you prefer to be, that is relevant for you to be in relation to everything else that there is. You can be upon any potential path. You can take the shape of anything. You can also hold space for anything that you choose is relevant based upon the version of yourself that you choose to be, based on what you believe, based on what you existentially do. Okay. So that reading for October, though, well, one, I guess that blood sacrifice is also very Scorpio, but also very Libran in the sense that there's like a sense of justice when you are doing something yourself, right? Um, Time will take the shape of whatever is in it. Thank you, Christy, for writing these down because I definitely actually a few of the ways I've said this, I was like, I gotta put this in my quantum energetics workshop. Um, which if you haven't joined, you guys should join. I'm doing quantum energetics workshops this month and next month. But let your edges be liquid as your character card is also like you decide your ultimate potential. You decide your character. You decide what your behavior. You decide your behavior. You decide the way that you react. You decide how far you will go. You decide what the limits are, and for yourself, right? That's the only person that you have the healthy relationship with doing that too. And the healthiest, I should say, because I'm sure you could do that within boundaries healthily with other people especially if you're doing it with yourself. But as this character, I feel like nothing's set in stone, right? Like I was even talking to my mom about this today. I was like, you are not done learning. You don't have to talk about yourself like that's done now or that's finished. Like we are reconditioning each other moment to moment, and we can do it at any time if we actually just invest in the conditioning, because the conditioning is like working the muscle, right? It's the practice that becomes praxis. It's the behavior and the orientation of developing in that direction, and that also changes the course of your destiny when you choose to develop in a different direction. So change the course of your destiny this month if you like. Develop in a new direction by trusting the process, having integrity, minding your business, and holding space for what is actually relevant in your existence. So now that we're moving on to the key card, I like to try and do something that indicates